As we gather to worship on this day, when the number of U.S. COVID deaths number over 220,000, we are reminded of the preciousness of this one imperfect life and world of which we all are a part. This morning, we are going to place upon the sanctuary floor beads, each of the beads representing 100 deaths from COVID-19 here in the U.S. alone. Our theology tells us that we are all interconnected through obvious and invisible links. As we read words representing our pain, anguish, and hopelessness from these losses, we invite you in your space at home to repeat the phrase, "We mourn the possibilities and honor the connections." When we hold up our hands, let's try that together. We mourn the possibilities and honor the connections. Each of these were beloveds, someone's grandparent, parent, sibling, friend, co-worker, family, and neighbor. We mourn the possibilities and honor the connections.
Each of these lives held hopes and dreams, plans and aspirations now left unfulfilled.
We mourn the possibilities
and honor the connections.
Each of these lives holds potentials that will now never be. Each of these lives were rich and complex. Each had moments of personal success and failure.
possibilities and honor the connections. Each of these lives reminds us with their loss that we who have survived this far should count each day as blessed, for those who are gone cannot. That our impatience or our sadness should not affect our safety, that we should gather as we can and await the day when we will gather in other ways, to remember those who cannot gather. We mourn the possibilities and honor the connections.
Each of these lives made contributions, some well received and others now. Many of these lives sustained, built, led, did.
We mourn
the possibilities
and honor
the connections.
Each of these lives reminds us to do what we can, to care for one another, connected as we are, to be as safe as we can be, so that we can protect ourselves from illness and death. We mourn the possibilities and honor the connections.
So let us take one more minute to grieve the intense and unimaginable loss that each of these beads represents. Let our actions and our living be an ongoing testimony to these precious lives now departed.
So here we allow ourselves to remember together what might seem too great to hold alone, that we have lost so many. A number this time last year would seem unthinkable. So as we look one more time at these beads here on the floor, there are smaller ones which represent other lives lost because resources were diverted to victims of the pandemic. In this moment, grappling with the enormity of this loss, we shall not forget them. We plan to create from these beads an ongoing remembrance on campus, and we will invite you to participate next week. Watch for directions. We will display strings of these beads around our campus. So while these lives are, of course, more than beads on strings, we need reminders to commemorate and even begin to grasp the enormity of this loss. These beads will be a symbol of our care for one another, and that we must do everything we can to prevent more losses. We honor these lives.